Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on finances and scholarships for international undergraduate students. My name is Jessica Lee, and I'm the manager of international recruitment here at Trent University. Today, we're going to cover a few topics, and let's go through the topics that we'll cover, and you'll have the opportunity to have your questions answered at the end of the webinar. So in the meantime, if you think of any questions that you have, please feel free to type them out in the chat box. But I'm sure I'll also be covering a lot of information for you throughout the webinar as well. So the topics that we will be covering today, we'll start off with how much does university cost? What can you expect for an academic year to spend for your tuition or your cost of living? We'll also look at opportunities for you to save, and we'll also cover information on when are the fees due, how can you pay the fees, what are some of the scholarships that you can apply for, what are some of the employment opportunities that are available here on campus or in the city of Peterborough or Oshawa, and what are some of the additional funding options too. Let's start off with how much does university cost. Understanding the cost upfront will help you to plan and prepare financially. So if you look at the chart here, tuition fees for 1 year is approximately $21,385 for September till April, and that is a typical academic year. Ancillary fees would be approximately $2,600, and that includes your university health insurance. So for example, if you fall sick and you need to go to a doctor, you're able to go to the doctor and it's covered. Or say if you need to go to the dentist, the extended health benefits are also included in your ancillary fees. You also have your bus pass included, your library fees included. So essentially those are mandatory fees. Your tuition fees and ancillary fees are mandatory fees that you have to pay to the university. In addition to that, your cost of living. Your cost of living includes your housing and meals, and you can expect to spend anywhere from $9,000 to $13,000 per academic year. And this range is dependent on whether you choose to live on campus or if you choose to live off campus, the type of housing that you're looking for, the type of meals that you have, whether you eat a lot or if you eat just a little bit. It all depends on you, right? So that's where the range comes from. We also ask that students budget approximately $1,000 for books and supplies so that you're able to get your textbooks, or if you're printing your papers for essays that you've written, if you need to purchase school supplies, we ask that you budget approximately $1,000 for that. And then personal expenses, that range approximately $1,500 to $3,000 per academic year. And so if you think about personal expenses, that could be, for example, your cell phone, if you have a cell phone, or if you want to go out to the movies. Perhaps you're thinking, oh, I may want to travel a little bit when I'm here in Canada. So that would fall under personal expenses. So all in all, for 8 months, you're looking at approximately $35,500 to $40,000 for your studies per year. Something to also keep in mind though when you're budgeting for the duration of your studies is that tuition fees usually increases between 3 to 5% per year. And so when you're budgeting, for example, if you're coming for 4 years and you're thinking, how much do I need to spend over 4 years? Do you take into account that tuition fees will increase a little bit each year? So make sure you budget that into your finances as well. But if you're transferring, for example, to Trent, that could actually help to shorten the duration of your studies. So instead of 4 years, you may just need to budget for 3 years. So it all depends on the duration of your studies here at Trent. Now, if you are studying in our Trent ESL program, here is a breakdown of the fees. The Trent ESL fees will be dependent on the level which you are placed in. So for example, if you are in level 1, 2, or 3, you're looking at spending approximately $5,250 for 1 term. If you are in level 4, which is Foundations 1, or if you're in Foundations 2, you're looking at spending approximately 5,400 or 4,300 for those 2 levels. For students who are new to our Trent ESL program, there are also one-time fees for new students, such as the Trent International Orientation fees, the Introductory Seminar Week, or the ESL publication fees. So those are mandatory fees for new students coming into our Trent ESL program. In addition to that, all ESL students will also have to pay for the university health insurance plan and the extended health and dental plan, and that will be prorated according to the duration of your studies in the ESL program. The numbers that you see out there on the slide is what it will cost for 1 year. Here is the timeline on when you can expect to pay your fees. So usually fees are due before the start of the term. So for example, if you're starting in September, your fees will be due in August. If you're starting in January, your fees will be due before the first day of classes. There is also a tuition deposit that is mandatory, and it's due usually the mid of June. And the tuition deposit essentially secures your spot in Trent University for the September intake, and the tuition deposit is due by December if you're starting in January too. And for students who are in certain countries where, as part of your study permit application, so for example, if you're in the student direct stream countries, you will want to pay your tuition fees for the whole entire year upfront because it's required as part of the study permit application. But in the event where your study permit is not approved, you are able to get a refund for the tuition fees that you've paid, including the deposit too. So for students who have been denied a study permit, you're able to get a refund. So I hope that also gives you a little peace of mind to know that you're able to get your money back should you get a denial from Immigration Canada. But let's hope that that is not the case and you're able to join us. Now let's look at some of the ways that you can pay your tuition fees. If you are studying in Canada or you are based here in Canada, here are some preferred domestic payment methods. You're able to do online banking, or you're able to pay at a Canadian bank, you're able to pay with Visa or MasterCard, and the list goes on. If you are currently abroad, outside of Canada, here are some of our preferred international payment methods. There is the Flywire option, Global Pay. Global Pay is pretty similar to wire transfer, I would say. You're also able to pay with your Visa or MasterCard, or for students who are sponsored, whether it's by an organization or you're sponsored by the government, we're able to make arrangements so that your organization or the government will be able to pay your fees directly to Trent University. Let's explore some of the opportunities for you to save. Knowing your budget will help you to prepare and plan for your financial when you're here. And it's also very important for you to stick to your budget, right? To make sure that you don't overspend. But a lot of students are always looking for opportunities to save. So there are so many different opportunities. For example, let's start with living expenses. If you choose to live in a shared room, for example, you have 2 students in a room, that would cost less compared to living in a single room, which means that you are in your own room. You could also compare, for example, choosing to live in a shared house. So you could have your own room in a shared house, and that would be cheaper than living in a whole entire apartment to yourself. So those are some of the ways that you can save costs. For textbooks, you're also able to look for rental options if you're interested. You're also able to look for used books from upper year students. So those are also some ways for you to save. For free and swap sites, there are actually free and swap sites on Facebook. There are also free markets that are part of the campus in Sattler House. So look for those opportunities that you can get free items, whether it's free winter clothing or if you need dishes, that could also work. Something that you should know is that the Trent International Office does a winter clothing drive. So this helps international students to get free winter clothing, and we just ran a very successful winter clothing drive last week where students came in to get winter jackets, and they came and got some gloves and mitts or toques and hats to keep themselves warm during the winter. So look for such opportunities when you're here at Trent. And in addition to that, lots of businesses around Peterborough and Oshawa, or just across Canada, lots of businesses offer student that. There are restaurants or clothing stores and technology stores that offer the discounts as long as you show them your student card. So there's some of the ways that you're able to reduce your cost and save. And I'm sure you're also able to find more creative ways when you're here studying at Trent. Let's now explore some of the scholarship options that are available to you as an international student, starting from your point of application till you're here as a student. Let's start with the entrance scholarship. Trent University is #1 in Canada when it comes to scholarships and bursaries. And that is reflective of the amount of money that we invest in you as students to help finance your education and to help you achieve your educational goals. So from the time of your application, when you apply to Trent, you will automatically be considered for an entrance scholarship. And the entrance scholarships are automatic scholarships. You do not even have to apply for it. As long as we see that you have the grades for it, we will give you the money for it. It's a one-time scholarship which will be deposited into your student account, and that will be used to help reduce your tuition fees when you start your studies at Trent. So if you look at the chart or the entrance scholarship grid, you're able to see where your grades are and how much you're able to get. If you have a Canadian equivalent average of 80%, you're able to get $1,000. And as you can tell, as the average goes up, the money goes up too, all the way to $3,000 at a Canadian equivalent of 95%. If you are studying using the American curriculum or using a GPA out of a 4.0 scale, you're able to get a scholarship starting with a GPA of 3.67. If you are in the IB curriculum, you're able to get the entrance scholarship starting with total scores of 30 points. Or if you are in the British curriculum, you're able to get an entrance scholarship starting with 2 advanced level grades of B. So as you can tell from all of that, we will reward you for your hard work in school prior to coming to Trent University. And one thing to note as well is that some of you may be applying with your predicted grades. The entrance scholarship will be considered based on your predicted grades, but it will be finalized once we receive your final grades. So you could potentially receive more money if you improve your grades based on your performance for the final term as well. In addition to that, we also have an entrance scholarship, which is the IB scholarship. And this is for students who have completed or in the midst of completing the IB diploma. So if you complete the IB diploma and you have a minimum of 26 points based on your total scores, you're able to get the IB scholarship. And the good news is that you're also able to combine the International Baccalaureate Scholarship with the entrance scholarship. So IB students are actually eligible for both straight off the bat. Now let's look at application-based scholarships. I mentioned before this about scholarships that are automatic. Let's talk about the application-based scholarships. So Trent University, we offer generous scholarships to international students who are looking to pursue their education here at Trent. And the Global Citizen Scholarships and Awards is something that I would strongly encourage you to look into and apply for, because you're able to get anywhere from $2,000 to $24,000 per year. So imagine if you are getting $24,000 per year, that would help to cover your tuition fees and your ancillary fees. So all you have to do is to pay for your cost of living, your books, and your personal expenses. So that will reduce the cost of your education significantly. The Global Citizen Scholarships and Awards are renewable for up to 4 years as long as you maintain your average here at Trent University. So you have the option of getting the money year after year until you graduate. So what are we looking for in terms of your application? What makes it a successful application for the Global Citizen Scholarships and Awards? We're looking for high academic achievement. We're looking for someone with outstanding community or international service. So perhaps you volunteer in your community or you volunteer in your school. We're looking for strong leadership skills as well as financial need too. And all we ask is one application to be considered for all of our Global Citizen Scholarships and Awards. And the deadline to apply for that is coming up on February 15th for students who are starting in September 2020. If you are starting next year in September 2021, you'll want to keep February 15th in mind as well, because that is the deadline for students who are starting in September. And the Global Citizen Scholarships and Awards is only applicable for students who are starting in our September intake. So you have to apply for admission and the scholarships by February 15th. And you will hear about your admission and your scholarships by April so that you're able to decide and then either accept your offer or decline your offer. But if you do accept your offer, you're able to then move on to the next steps, for example, applying for a study permit or visa. And we also have a session, a webinar on applying for study permits coming up later in March. So do check out that webinar as well. But for now, let's look at how can you apply for this scholarship. So if you go to Trent University's webpage, a webpage for you to visit, which is trentu.ca/intl/scholarships. This webpage contains information for scholarships and awards for all incoming students. So you're able to find information on the entrance scholarships and information on the application-based scholarships, along with external scholarships as well. So please check out this website. But you'll notice that the arrow is pointing to the right side of the page. And if you click on that, you're able to find the scholarships and awards application forms. So on the application forms, you have two options. You can download it as a Word document or a PDF document. And you can also download the documents for reference forms as well. So what we're asking for as part of, we ask that you complete the application, you submit 3 essays. The first essay is to look at your academic and career goals. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We want to know you and what you're interested in. The second one is to talk about your leadership and involvement. And prior to that, you also have to provide a list of your extracurricular activities and achievements, and then use essay 2 to reflect on what you've done. So what did you learn from a specific experience? Is it, for example, communication skills, conflict resolution? Is it leadership skills? Tell us more. Reflect on your experiences and tell us what you've learned and how those experiences have helped you to grow as a person. And the final essay is on a local or national or international topic that is close to your heart. And it can be any topic. In the past, students have written about climate change. Students have also written about the education system in your country. Students have written about politics. Students have written about access to clean water in certain communities. So it's up to you, but it's also another way for us to get to know you. And then we also ask for 2 reference letters. And usually I encourage you to consider getting a reference letter from someone who knows you and someone who's able to speak about your academic achievement or your character as a person or your involvement in extracurriculars or in the community. So it could be a teacher, a coach, a volunteer coordinator, or someone you've worked with too. So please gather the documents and submit your application via email to international@trentu.ca. And don't forget, the deadline for students who are starting in September is February 15th of this year. So make sure you submit your application by February 15th. And like I said, the scholarship committee will review all of the applications and release the scholarship decisions in April. For current students, so we've talked about scholarships for incoming students, but what are some of the financial aid that you're able to get when you're a current student here at Trent? Let's look at the options. So for students who are here at Trent, if you do well in your studies, you're able to apply for what we call the InCourse Scholarships. And the idea is that if you have an average of 80% based on 5.0 credits during your academic year at Trent, you're able to get $1,000 for the following year, for the following academic year. So say you come into Trent and in your first year, you do really, really well and you have an average of 86%. That means in the following September for your second year, you're able to get the InCourse scholarship of $1,500 in your student account to help reduce your tuition fees. So students are able to apply for the scholarship through the MyTrent portal starting in May, and the deadline to apply is in August. So this is something for current students who are already studying here at Trent. It's an incentive and also a reward for all of your hard work when you are here at Trent. So you're able to apply for this. In addition to that, we also offer international bursaries. So the international bursary is awarded on the basis of financial need and involvement in the Trent or Peterborough and Oshawa community. The international bursary amount is up to $1,500. So students could get anywhere from $100 or $50 all the way to $1,500. And it's money that you do not have to pay back at all. And students can apply for this in January, and the deadline is usually the 1st of February each year. So this is also additional money that we provide to our current students to help them finance their education. And in addition to that, we also reward students and also assist students to help them achieve their academic goals. So we offer the Emerging Scholars Award, and this award supports international students who are applying their academic work in venues beyond the Trent campus. For example, we have a nursing student who is currently finishing her 4th year here at Trent, and for her last placement, she did a placement with the hospital in Toronto. So she had to commute to Toronto to the hospital and do her placements. So we supported her with the Emerging Scholars Award to help cover the cost of commuting back and forth between Trent to Toronto for her placement. And she is very happy with her placement experience. It's something that she has always wanted to do. And it's also helping her in terms of her job opportunities down the line. Because if you're applying your academic work outside of the university, you're also able to build practical experiences that you can apply to your career. You're also able to network with people who may potentially hire you down the line. So it's something that we strongly encourage students to consider. And so this application is available throughout the academic year. It starts from September and it closes at the end of March on March 31st. So all you have to do is submit a proposal and your plan of study and what you're going to be doing for your placements or your research experience or your conference that you're going as part of your academic work, and we will consider you for the Emerging Scholars Award. And now, all full-time international students on a study permit are also able to work while you're studying. So this is also another way that international students are able to fund their education, but don't just rely on this solely alone. This is one of the ways to help, not to cover all of the expenses. So full-time international students who are studying at Trent are able to work up to 20 hours during the school year, or they're able to work up to 40 hours during breaks. So for example, over the summer, you're able to work up to 40 hours, or when the university is closed for Christmas break, you're able to work up to 40 hours. And the minimum wage in Ontario right now is $14 an hour. So $14 an hour if you work for 20 hours a week, that will also help to cover potentially your cost of living too. And you're able to work on campus or off campus. So within Trent University, we have lots of student jobs that you're able to work at. You're able to work, for example, with me in the Trent International office, or you're able to work in the library, you're able to work in the residence office, you're able to work in the office of the registrar. There are lots of student positions all across the campus. Off campus, a lot of students work in, say, departmental stores, or they will work in a mall, or places like Walmart or restaurants. There are lots of off-campus opportunities too. One of the things that you should utilize when you're here as a student is the Trent Career Space. So with the Trent Career Space, we assist you with writing a great resume and a cover letter so that you're able to apply for jobs. We also assist you with providing you with the resources to look for jobs, whether it's on campus or off campus. And we also do mock interviews. So those are some of the services that we provide so that you're able to get employment from the time that you're a student. And even as you prepare to graduate and to apply for jobs, you're also able to access the Trent Careers Job Subsidy Program. What this means is that the Trent International Office supports other offices across campus to hire international students. So that increases your employment opportunities on campus itself. Here is an example of the student job board. So once you're a student at Trent, you're able to access the student job board to look at what are some of the job opportunities that are available right now, and you're able to then apply for them. In addition to that, the Trent Career Space also holds employment fairs or job fairs that you can go to connect with employers around the area and to also connect with employers within the campus too. Here are some resources for you to check out to help fund your education. So for example, you may be in a country where your government offers scholarships for you to study abroad. Make sure you access that. Or perhaps you have a local service club, for example, the Rotary International or Lions International, or perhaps you could get private sponsorship to help finance your education, or you could get bank or government loans from your home country to help finance your education. But I've also listed some external award resources for you. You can check out Scholarships Canada, the Western Union Scholars Program. Check them out and apply for as many scholarships as you can, because the more money that you can get, the better it is to help finance your education. At Trent International, or Trent University in general, once you complete your education, your undergraduate degree, you're able to then move on to pursue your master's or PhD here at Trent University as well. And Trent University also provides funding for graduate students who are thinking of doing their master's or PhD. So I encourage you to check out the Graduate Studies website if you're thinking, I want to study and complete my undergraduate degree and then potentially complete my master's too. Check out the Graduate Studies website for information on your fees and funding options. So to wrap up this presentation, here are some things for you to start to prepare as you plan for your studies here at Trent. First of all, start planning how much you will need for the duration of your studies, how much you'll need per year, and how much you'll need for 3 years or 4 years, or maybe more, depending on how long you plan to study here at Trent. Second of all, look for scholarships and awards that you can apply for, and apply for all of them. Because if you can fund your education with as much money that you don't have to pay back, that would help you out. And finally, be aware of your budget, how much you spend, and also stick to your budget when you're here. To assist you in your planning and preparation, here are some departments that you may be interested in contacting. On the top left, you'll see the Student Accounts Office. The Student Accounts Office handles all finances and payments, including fee refunds. So you're able to visit their website or contact them for information on fees or how to pay, or also anything with regards to billing and tuition costs. You're also able to check out the on-campus residence office. If you're thinking of applying to residence, you're able to check out how much does it cost depending on which residence you live in. And if you have further questions about off-campus housing as well, you're able to contact our housing office. For students who require support in various capacities, the Student Accessibility Services Office is there as well. And we also have an academic advising office, which is able to help advise you in terms of courses that you can take, and to also help you map out your education plan while you're here at Trent, so that you meet your degree requirements and graduate in a timely manner. And with that, I'm going to end my presentation and open the floor up for questions. But if you have further questions, please feel free to also connect with us at Trent International. You can give us a call at 705-748-1314, or you could also email us at international@trentu.ca. So I'm going to check for the questions right now. Thank you. Okay. So if you have questions, make sure you type them in the chat and I'll be able to answer your questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read questions out and then I'm going to answer them. And for example, if we have duplicate questions, I'm going to read one of the questions out and assume that that's going to answer the duplicate questions from there. Okay, questions for scholarships. Let's start with, do we have to necessarily apply for the scholarships at the time of admission? So for entrance scholarships, the answer is no, because there isn't an application that's required. For the Global Citizen Scholarships and Awards, you have to apply by February 15th, as mentioned. Okay, and then the next question. Are on-campus student jobs available? Yes, there are on-campus student jobs available, as mentioned in my presentation. Are there scholarships which include living expenses as well? We don't offer any scholarships that include living expenses, but we do offer scholarships that go all the way up to full tuition. Because if you think about, for example, the total amount, which is a minimum of $35,000, $24,000 off the $35,000 would significantly cover most of your education costs per year. So we don't offer that. The next question is, okay, what is Trent ESL program? Is it applicable for international students? Yes, so the Trent ESL program is for all students who do not meet our English requirements. So for example, if you're from a country where English is not your first language, and you're interested in learning English as a second language, and that's what ESL stands for, English as a second language, you're able to start with the Trent ESL program and study, and build your English ability, and then start your degree studies after you complete the Trent ESL program. Okay, the next question. I have been accepted and will need childcare from kids. Does Trent help in finding childcare in schools for their kids? So for Trent University, we have actually received students with kids before. We don't assist with finding the spots, but what we do is we provide you with the resources so that you're able to connect with the childcare or the schools. And the reason why is because the schools or the childcare will need to get the information from you and they'll want to speak directly with you. So we'll connect you with the resources, provide you with the resources, and you're able to go from there. So for example, one of the good things to know is that there is a childcare, a daycare right here on campus that services the community, the faculty, staff, and students of Trent University. And it's very convenient for students to just drop off their children at the daycare and then head to class and collect their children by 6 p.m. So that's an option for childcare. The Trent Daycare offers childcare for students all the way up to preschool, and school starts at 4 years old. So for anyone with children starting at 4 years old, they'll start to hit to junior kindergarten, and you're able to look for aftercare or before care as well if you're interested. That's something that the Peterborough community offers. So depending on which school that your child is in, you're able to then arrange for before care or after care from there. Okay, the next question. In case a visa is rejected, the whole deposit and tuition fee is refunded or an administration charge is deducted. If yes, how much will it be? Okay, so in case your visa is rejected, we actually will refund everything. There is no administrative fee. If anything, there may be a wire transfer fee of $15 for us to transfer the money back to your bank, but we don't charge administrative fee from there. There's a question about what is the scholarship criteria. I've covered that in my presentation for the entrance scholarships and the Global Citizen Scholarships and Awards. So make sure you refer to that. How much scholarship is available for international students? I've also covered that in my presentation. So this webinar is actually recorded. And so you're able to check out the webinar and review it after today. So starting tomorrow, it should be posted on our website and you're able to review it. Or you could also check out our websites for more information. Can I apply for scholarships after I get my final transcript of senior year? And is it worth doing so? If you are applying for the Global Citizen Scholarship, you have to apply by February 15th. I'm not sure when final results will be given out because that varies according to countries and according to curriculum. So for example, there are countries where you could get your final transcript in August. There are countries that you could get your final transcript in June. So apply by February 15th. Do not wait until you get your final transcript. We are able to make an assessment based on your current grades. So it's also very important for you to do well in your final year because we do look at your current grades too. Are there any sports scholarships? And the answer is yes, there are limited sports scholarships for students who are playing for our varsity teams. So for example, if you're interested in playing soccer for Trent University's varsity team, I strongly encourage you to connect with the coach because it's up to the coach who determines how much to award. I believe it goes all the way up to $1,000, but it's definitely worth connecting with the coach, and the coach will assess your playing ability and then decide on the scholarship from there. The next question, I have not received the offer letter yet. Could you tell me about the acceptance criteria? So our international admissions office will be the one that handles all applications. And so usually for admission, we are looking for students who meet our minimum requirements and students who meet our English requirement as well in order to enter into our undergraduate program. So if you have already applied to Trent University and if you have questions about your admission, please connect with International Admissions at trentu.ca and they'll be able to assist you from there. Okay, the next question, who can I ask to write a reference letter? As mentioned in my presentation, you could ask, for example, your teacher, a coach, someone who knows you and someone who's able to talk about your academic abilities and your involvement or your character as well. Can I get a full merit-based scholarship for the Master of Management? It is my understanding for graduate programs, especially for the Master of Management program, because it's a professional master's program, there are no scholarships for that program. But I strongly encourage you to connect with our graduate studies department to see if there are awards that you can apply for. The next question is, can I book a tour for April now? through which email ID. Okay, so you are definitely welcome to book a tour, and you can do so by contacting us at International. When is the payment for residences and living costs be paid for fall semester? Okay, so that there was a slide on timelines and deadlines and when fees are due. So for that, for the fall intake, it's usually August 15th that you have to pay for your fees. But there is usually a deposit as well that is due by mid-June if you're applying for residence, and the deposit is also to secure your spot here at Trent University. Are there any other questions? Anyone? When will we, okay, I see, when will we get acceptances at the latest? For admission, it's an ongoing basis where our admissions department will assess your application as we receive your documents. But usually from the time that we receive all of your required documents for admission, it takes anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks for us to get back to you with your acceptance. Okay, a question. I have received an offer letter. Can you please tell me something about co-op? So our co-op program, they are within the computing systems program or our conservation biology program. So students are able to apply for the co-op stream. For students who are applying for the co-op, there is an additional admission document that they have to submit. And it's basically an essay that outlines your interest in doing a co-op. And from there, our faculty, along with our admissions department, will assess the application and read through the letter and then decide from there. The co-op program essentially allows you to study and work as part of your degree program, and it's all integrated. So, for example, you could be studying for 2 terms and then go out and do your co-op term over the summer. So it's structured so that you complete your studies within 4 years, but with terms that are dedicated towards working. And so when you do co-op, you're working, you're getting work experience, you're getting paid. So it's a great program for you to consider. And as mentioned, it's offered within our computing systems program or the conservation biology program. How long until I get feedback on my application? As mentioned, for admissions, it takes anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, depending on the time of the year. And for scholarships, we'll get back to all applicants in April. Okay, I'm gonna give all of you another minute or two to think of questions and to type your questions out for me. And if you have no more questions after this, then please feel free to connect with us either on our Facebook, our Instagram. You can also connect with us via email or phone. We're here to help, and we'll be excited to welcome you to Trent in September, or in our January intake or our summer intakes as well. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, seeing that there are no questions, I'm going to end this webinar right now. Thank you once again for watching this webinar. I hope that you'll apply to Trent for admission and scholarships. And if you have any questions, make sure that you connect with us. Thank you, and have a great evening or a great morning or a great day wherever you are watching from. Take care.